Okay, so today we are going to talk about second innings, which is retirement planning insights. First and foremost, why retirement planning? So there can be multiple alternative arrangements for retirement. Some of them would be like this. So you could be dependent upon your joint family if you are staying in a joint family currently. The second option is you could be dependent upon children, but that is a very risky option which is available, because even if children are able to take care of themselves in the future, that is good enough. Expecting them to take care of you is going to be very, very difficult. The last default option is you can keep earning as long as it is possible for you. So we see a lot of people who are senior citizens, even people who are 70 plus, they go to work on a regular basis. So wherever they are working in the unorganized sector, if you ask them why they are doing it, the answer which they will give you is typically that we are in good health, so we do not want to stop working. But the actual answer is that if they stop working, from the next day onwards, they will have a problem of livelihood. So meeting day ends meet would be very difficult for them. There are some people, no doubt, who are 60 and 70 plus, who are working only for the sheer satisfaction of work. But that is a small percentage. Rest, you know what it is. The best alternative is to plan your retirement through investments. And that is exactly what we are going to discuss today. So why second innings? Everybody deserves a second chance. Now, what is very important for us to understand is that everybody, when they started off after completion of their graduation, post-graduation, they started off working, or they started doing their own business, or they pursued a profession. Initially, it was the time was devoted to work. But later on, what happened was, once the family started, the entire purpose of their life was to support the family. In that entire endeavor, somewhere down the line, they forgot to live for themselves. They forgot to follow their passions. They forgot to have a me time. And now they are almost retired. So life has given them a second opportunity, a second chance, a second innings to live their life once again. This is only possible if the concern for money is not there. So if you have planned the investments properly and you have ensured that sufficient money is available for the entire retired life, which is passive income, then they don't have to worry about anything else, but just they can follow their own passions. So that is why second innings, everyone deserves a second chance. What is the session flow for the day? So we're going to cover some data points, followed by some tips, followed by some retirement solutions, and finally we have an NFO discussion today. Okay. Now each session, there are several takeaways which are there. Some could be what you have heard somewhere else. Some could be unique. 3 unique takeaways which I'm going to share with you in this session are like this. The first is the de-risking concept, which we'll share. Next, we'll talk about reverse mortgage also. And we will talk about senior citizens residential projects. Now, these are 3 possibly things which you have not heard of earlier, or maybe not in details. Apart from this, there are several other takeaways as well. So some data points. The first data point which we are going to discuss today is the age dependency ratio. So what is the percentage of working population which is dependent upon, what is the percentage of retired population which is dependent upon the working population? So this graph has been steadily increasing, and it normally increases also. That is the way it has to be there. Because as medical science advances, people are going to live a healthy or whatever kind of life post-retirement, but they're going to be alive. And if they're not working, they'll be dependent on somebody else. So this has been a steadily increasing graph, and it is good enough for that. Just we need to take care that it does not go beyond proportions. Second is the inflation movement. Now, inflation is volatile, as we all know. It is not so much of concern when we are working, because normally our income increases at a rate which is higher than inflation. That is the way it should be. Or at least even if it is at par with inflation, things are taken care of. You don't live a better lifestyle, you just live the same lifestyle which you are living the earlier year. But inflation post-retirement becomes very, very critical, because now you are not earning. So your money has to give you inflation beating returns. Then only you will be able to live a better lifestyle going forward. So what is the inflation which is there? The inflation for the last 60 years has been roughly around 7.42. All these are sources from the World Bank. The third data point is the life expectancy ratio. Simply put, what is the age till which a person will live? That is his or her life expectancy. Now, again, this will increase because advances in medical sciences. So the life expectancy ratio has moved from 41 to 70 in the last 60 years. And it will keep growing forward also. So whenever we look at life expectancy in terms of retirement planning, we do not look at 70. We take the age much higher than that, probably 85 or 90 at this point in time. Maybe under 10 years down the line, we can look at even 100 as well. Remember, the worst thing which can happen for a retired person is he or she may outlive the retirement plan. So let's say I have planned for somebody till 80 and the entire corpus is getting over by 80 and the person lives beyond that. What will he do? He will not be employable at that point in time, plus everything else. So there is no other support system for him. Possibly he'll have to depend upon his children at that time, which will be neither financially good nor emotionally good also. So remember, always take 10 to 15 years extra in terms of life expectancy. Coming to some tips. So first and foremost, the most important tip is the changing dynamics. Now understand, when we talk about retirement to younger people, they are not so much convinced because they feel they have a lot of years ahead of them. But when you show this graph to them or show this slide to them, the fear will be there and the need or the urgency for retirement planning will be created. So what are we talking about here? So if we talk about birth, work, retirement, life expectancy, etc. In the earlier days, people used to start working at the age of 20. So probably they just completed their 12th, went into graduation. Before even completing the graduation, they started working. Then they did their graduation parallelly while working. They did their post-graduation parallelly while working, and so on and so forth. So work used to start at around 20. Since they were fit and fine, a lot of physical work was being done, they could comfortably work till 60. Life expectancy was around 80 at that time. So if I put numbers into this slide, this is what you will get. So 40 years of working life to support 20 years of retired life. The ratio here is 2:1, which is a very healthy ratio for retirement. Supporting this, what other factors were there? So there were large joint families. In case something happened to one particular adult, the rest of the family members could take care of his or her family. Lower health cost, because at that time healthcare was not so much developed. Hence, the costing was also low. Higher interest rates. FDs were giving very high interest rates at that point in time. So somebody could even plan retired life basis, investing money in fixed deposits. Healthier lifestyle. So as I said, people used to do a lot of physical work. So a lot of walking was there. Entire household work used to be done. Extra hours you would be put into farming, etc. And people were physically fit. Plus, they were eating ghar ka khana, so that also helped them out. Is the situation the same right now? Absolutely no. People now, after completion of their graduation, post-graduation, MBA, then they start working. Roughly now 25 or 27 is the age at which people actually start working. Parents also support this kind of a situation. Because of a lot of stress which we go through, We don't want to work till 60. We would probably want to retire at 55 or even earlier. On the other side, medical science is advanced and has pushed life expectancy further by 5 years. So now if I put numbers here, it is 30 years of working life to support a 30 years of retired life. The ratio is 1:1. The working life has become shorter and the retired life has become longer now. Now, understand, for every year, whatever you are able to save and contribute towards retirement will be used to support only 1 year's retirement, and that way. So the ratio is not so promising. Along with that, what are the factors? We have moved now, most of us, from joint families to nuclear families. This is a risky proposition because for husband, the wife will support in case something happens. For the wife, husband will support in case something happens. There's nobody else. Medical science is advanced, healthcare is advanced, and hence the costs have also gone up. Interest rates are all-time low. It may be lower in the future also. Suboptimal lifestyle. So I call our generation the pizza burger generation. We love to eat at least 2 to 3 times in a week outside, or we try to make those things fast foods at our home. There is no healthy diet, and there is completely lack of physical exercise. So all this is creating pressure on the working life to support the retired life, assuming we are able to work till 55. If there is any medical issue which comes up because of which I have to retire early, or I cannot take a good paying job, I have to have a desk job, again, everything goes for a toss. So these changing dynamics are very, very important. So if you try to show this to the customer, to your clients, it will have an impact, positive impact on them. That is, they will realize that now is the need to start investing for my retirement. Start early. So whenever we talk about retirement planning, this is what we hear. I would say it is a cliche. A cliche is something which is a statement which gets repeated regularly till the time it starts losing its importance. Why is it a cliche according to me? For a simple reason that when I heard start early, it was already too late for me. And same is the situation with your clients also. Sometimes you might talk to your client and say, okay, you should start your retirement planning at 30, 28 and 30. And when you start taking data from him or her, you realize that the person is 39 years of age. Now, what are you going to tell that person? Sir, everything is over. Ma'am, everything is over. We can't do any planning for you. No. Remember, as I said, most of the clients, this is a cliche because we have already missed the bus. That is the reality of the fact. But we will not tell them that, sir or ma'am, we don't have any solution for them, but we have solutions. So in the next slide, I'll discuss those with you. So I've divided the clients into 3 categories. Category 1 is people who are actually up to age 30. So tell them, sir, ma'am, this is the best time to start investing for your retirement. You have 25 years, even if you decide to quit at 55. A simple SIP of 11,000 rupees will fetch you a corpus of 2 CR. Here I've assumed the retirement age to be 55 and the returns to be around 12%. Now, some people will have already crossed this age. So for them, we have 2 options. If the person is 35 years of age, then he would need 21,000 rupees SIP. If he's 40 years of age, he would require 42,000 rupees SIP to reach the same goal. 2 crores is just a goal which I've taken. You can have it 1 crore, 5 crores, whatever. Okay. Now, everybody will not have 21 and 42,000 to put into an SIP. For them, what is the solution? We have one more solution for them. And that solution is here. So, sir, ma'am, if you're 35 years of age, you do not have 21,000 rupees to put into an SIP, start with 9,702. But make sure that every year you do a top up of 2,000 rupees. That has to go without fail. If you're 40 years of age, you can start with a SIP of 22,000 right now, and you can top it up going forward at 4,000 rupees every year. So different solutions for different clients. Now the concept of de-risking. Now, today only you saw that the market has tanked by 1,540, 50 points roughly on the Sensex side. And this keeps repeating itself. 2008, we saw the crash. Just during COVID, when it started last year, we saw the crash. Right? Now, just imagine your client was retiring as of 31st March 2020. He had created a decent corpus and suddenly the market tanked and everything was wiped out. Majority was wiped out. What will happen to his retired life? It will become compromised. So that is where we introduce the concept of de-risking. Please listen to this carefully. If you're able to explain this to your clients, you will have a winning situation there for yourselves. So first few questions here. Is 100% equity advisable on the retirement? The answer is no for every one of us. That's true for me as well. If the markets fall during retired phase, will the capital erosion reduce withdrawals and adversely affect post-retirement lifestyle? Obviously, yes, because that is where my money is invested. Is 100% debt or balance investments advisable after retirement? Now, here there can be multiple opinions of multiple people. But in my opinion, I would say no. Why no? Is because if you want to live a retired life just out of debt investments, you will require a huge amount of investment. So I'll tell you how much it is in the slides going forward. But the point is that that is not advisable and that is not required also. Now, the million-dollar question is there any solution available to shield the impact of adverse market situations and still have investments in equity? In short, what does it mean? It means that I will put my money in equity also, but I will shield myself from the shock of equity volatility. Surprisingly, the answer to this is yes. And for that purpose, we introduce the concept of de-risking. Let me explain what it is to you and how it works. So here the assumptions are retirement corpus is 2 CR, first withdrawal is 1 lakh, and rate of returns is in equity and debt respectively is 12 and 18%. Inflation is 7%. So year one, I'm assuming that I need a systematic withdrawal of 1 lakh rupees per month. That's just an assumption. You can change these numbers and then you can calculate it as per your requirement. Now, inflation will be there post-retirement. So I would want to have increased annuity. So in the second year, I've increased it by 7%. Third year, I've increased it again by 7%. And this is compounding, not simple. Fourth year again, and fifth year again, and so on and so forth. Now this I've just converted it into annual figures. So this would be the withdrawals per month and per annum respectively. Now, as we said, the retirement corpus has to be partly in equity, partly in debt. So how much should be there in debt? In debt, you need 12 lakhs, 12.84 lakhs, and 13.73 lakhs. A combination of this, a sum of this rather. The balance, whatever money is there, you can put it into equities. So 2 crores minus these three amounts is what goes into your equity. Now, where did I get these three numbers from? These three numbers come from here. So if you see on the right hand side, this is exactly the withdrawal which is required in the first year, second year, and third year respectively. So what I'm trying to do is whatever money is required in the next 3 years, I am trying to park all that into debt. Remaining everything I put into equity. Now let's go into year two. Year two, what would I require in debt? 12.84, 13.73, and 14.70. This is money required in the second, third, and fourth year respectively. I already had put 12.84 and 13.73 in debt. Now I need to move 14.70 into debt from equity. The rest, whatever money is there, plus the interest, all of that will go into my equity funds. I continue this going forward. Right? So the logic is that if you put 3 years money into debt, and even if anything happens to the market, your equity will get affected, but your retirement will not get affected because retirement is coming out of debt funds. And if you leave the money in the market, in the equity market, after some time, once everything is over, the money will go back to its original value. Right? So, what is the advantage of this de-risking approach? Multiple advantages. First and foremost, only 3 years money is in debt, rest earns equity returns. Offers protection to retirement corpus if equity market is short term. Normally it is short term, less than 3 years, so no need to worry there. Active management of funds which is required to switch money from equity to debt. Now this is something which is very, very important and has to be done. Now it has two sides to it. One, if you tell the client will say, who's going to do it? I don't have all the time. What should be your answer? Perfectly right. Your answer should be, sir, I am there. Ma'am, I am there. That is why I am into this profession. This makes the role of an MFD more crucial. Okay, so you're trying to position yourself indirectly in this fashion that you require me to do all this. Who's going to tell you how much money will be there in equity and how much in debt? Who will do the SWP from debt? Who will move money from equity into debt in the second year, third year, and so on and so forth? The client will not do all that. You will do it. Hence, the money will be parked with you or invested through you. That makes your role very, very crucial. Investments in fixed deposits and real estates can be redeemed for the corpus. Now, whenever we do retirement planning, we realize that the corpus is huge. And that huge corpus, very difficult to create from normal investments, normal savings. So if you have any investments in fixed deposits, etc., or any investments in property which is not giving you any returns, all that can be redeemed to support this. That will also get invested through you. Taxation here needs to be considered because taxation keeps changing. So you'll have to look at taxation. So 3 years might be 3 years and 2 months, 3 months, whatever, if that is what it is required. Okay. Some thumb rules. Now, a lot of times you need thumb rules to give off the record or of the table numbers to the clients. So obviously detailed retirement for planning will follow. But if you ask me, tell me approximately how much money would I require? You should be able to give them some ballpark figures. So for that, we have some thumb rules. The first thumb rule is, if you have 1 crore as a corpus, and if your SWP is 1 lakh rupees, that is 1%. And you're deploying money in the equity markets to give you returns at around 12%. It will support you for 25 years, roughly. Okay. Now somebody says, okay, I want to put in debt. Whatever you have said, I understand, but I still want to put into debt. No problem, sir. You'll require 33% more corpus. So instead of 1 CR, 1.33 CR is required to give you the same result. Now someone says, sir, you have not calculated inflation. Perfectly fine. If you want to look at inflation and you want to have inflation beating returns, then you would require 80% more corpus. Because what happens is here the 1 lakh rupees will increase every year by 7%. That is what we have calculated. Okay. Now here we have, if the person wants to put money into debt as well as wants inflation beating returns, how much money is required? So the money which is required will be roughly around 2.65 crores for the same results. So quickly, if you have to tell somebody 1 crore corpus, 1 lakh withdrawals, it will last you for 25 years, assuming 12% returns. If you need money to be put into debt, 33% more money is required. If you want inflation adjusted returns, 80% more returns are required. And if you want both, then instead of 1 CR, 2.65 CR is what is required. Okay, there are a few questions here. Okay. How would you say the return of 8% on debt? So if you look at roughly around corporate, your bond funds, dynamic bond, etc., would give you somewhere around 7 to 8% returns. That is why we have looked at it. Okay. That is for Vijay sir. 2.24.82. If you do a TVM, time value of money calculation here, basis, this is your present value, this is your PMT, this is your rate of returns, which is the rate, this will be your N per. So if you try to calculate for N per, this is what will happen. So increasing inflation. Now, this is one of the most important things which you need to take care of. So inflation has been steadily rising. If you see the inflation at the rate of 7.5% also, I've just taken an assumption here. It is not 7.5%, just taken an assumption. But if you look at this, then your expenses double in 10 years. Expenses become 4 times in 20 years. Expenses become 8 times in 30 years, and so on and so forth. In 50 years, 1 lakh of expenses will become 37 lakh of expenses at just 7.5% inflation. So this is something which you need to sensitize your customers. It is good for both of you, because if the person is looking at inflation, the person will not put money into fixed income products. More money will be parked into equity, and it is good for you also, and it is good for the customers because you get better returns out of it. Coming to the retirement solutions, so multiple solutions we are going to look at. So I'll quickly run you through the solutions, and then we'll finally, when we are at the last solution, we'll get into the details of it. Retirement planning products. So if you have to look at fixed income products or the debt side products, there are multiple of them. First and the most preferred for everyone is a public provident fund. Excellent product, because it is one of the very few products which give you EEE, which is exempt. So overall a fantastic product. The only negative part about it is the returns are controlled by the government. So if the government decides to slash the returns tomorrow, you can't do anything about it. Okay. Second drawback is it's a debt product. NPS, National Pension Scheme, fantastic product again. Tier 1, Tier 2, all that is there. You have 6 fund managers to support it. But again, if it is a good product, but again, it is giving you fixed income kind of returns, and also a debt product. Senior citizen saving schemes, excellent product for senior citizens. If you want to look at the fixed income side, the returns are good. FDs with interest payouts, not so promising because the interest is also taxable, but a small allocation can be done here. Finally, monthly income plans or the MIPs. Now, all of these 5 products in the fixed income space are good products, but you need to decide on an allocation to them. You cannot allocate 100% of your retirement corpus to any or all of these funds, all of these products. Not advisable. You can have certain allocation, but that's it. The next category of product is the annuity plans. Again, fantastic products, but you need to understand the annuity product properly, because I've seen that 8 out of 10 people who promote annuity plans do not understand the annuity plan itself, do not understand the options itself. So that you should understand, and then only you will be able to give a better advice to your clients. Life annuity. Now, this is typically that kind of plan where as long as I live, I will continue to get annuity, irrespective of the number of years I live. I may live tomorrow for 50 years also. Additionally, I will still get annuity for all the 50 years. The only flip side about this is there is no return of purchase price here. Joint life annuity. This is once I am dead, my wife, my spouse will continue to get the annuity. Once both of us are dead, the annuity stops. Again, this is as long as both of us are alive. So it's a guaranteed kind of a thing, but the rate of returns are very, very low. Life annuity with return of purchase price, good product, because what happens is I continue to get life annuity as long as I'm alive. Post my demise, the entire purchase price with which I had purchased the annuity, that goes to my nominees, 100% of it, irrespective of the number of years for which I have received annuity. Now, again, good product, but the rates are very, very low here. This has one more version, which is joint life with return of purchase price. Then there is a product which is known as annuity certain. Annuity here is offered for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. As the name suggests, it is certain. Means what? That let's say I've taken it for 15 years, I pass away in 7 years. Still for the next 8 years, the annuity will continue to go to my nominees. After the said period is completed, then it stops. That is why annuity certain. Good product again. Here, normally you'll get slightly higher returns as compared to your investment. But again, the returns are on the lower side. Last is increasing annuity. This is increasing at the rate of 3% normally. 3% does not beat inflation in any situation. Okay. So though the annuity is increasing, it will not be sufficient enough to take care of your retired expenses. Now, again, all plans are fantastic. But here again, you cannot have 100% allocation of your retirement corpus to any of these plans. So between slide 1, that is the option 1 and 2, which we saw, fixed income products and annuity products, together you can give roughly 5 to 10% allocation of the total retirement corpus which is there. I don't think much more than that is required. Next product which is used for retirement is real estate. A lot of people we hear saying that I bought 3 properties. 1, I and my spouse will stay. 2nd, I'll give it to my son. 3rd, I'll give it to my daughter. And we will live out of the rent of these properties. Conceptually, good plan. But you need to understand real estate as an asset class. All the positives of real estate we have seen, but we also have to see the concern areas about real estate. What are those? Now, the positive is that real estate is one of those very few products which we give you both rental income as well as capital appreciation. That is a cash flow as well as capital appreciation. That is why it is considered a very good product. But understand wherever you are, for residential properties, rental yield ranges between 2 to 2.5%. That's it, of the property value. Try checking it. 90% of the cases, 95% of the cases, this will be true. Unless until you're giving properties where you're allotting it to multiple students and you're taking money from each student. In that case, the rental yield will go up, but there is a risk which is there associated with that as well. Now, there are a lot of hassles which are associated with real estate: maintenance of property, collection of rentals, leave and license agreements, procedures, bill payments. All of these require a lot of efforts. Now, if I ask a 60-year-old, can he or she do it? They will say yes. But if I ask a 70-year-old, can he or she do it? The answer will most probably be no. Or would they want to do it? The answer would be no. So real estate, you can start off. If you feel that property prices are rising in your area, you can put partly some money into real estate, but ensure that you liquidate everything and put it into the stock market by the time the client turns around 70. If he does not give allocation to real estate, that is all the more better also. Not a problem there. Rental yields plus capital appreciation may not be greater than equity returns over a longer period of time. Now, this is something which is very, very important. You look at any data, you see this is what happens. Finally, last year, due to COVID, we have seen that rental yields can stop. So let's say March 2020, an agreement was getting over for your retired couple, and they were about to renew the agreement for their tenant. Seeing the COVID situation, the tenant just vacated the property and went to his or her native place. And that property remained vacant for the next 6 months. How do you think the retired couple is going to survive now if their sole source of income is this retired property? Is this rental property? Not possible, right? So understand that we also have to account for that because of some natural calamities or because of some things beyond our control, rental yields can suddenly stop. Now, very, very important concept, reverse mortgage. Very few people understand this concept. It's a fantastic concept. Okay. So it is exactly the reverse of a home loan. In home loan, what happens? The bank gives you a loan and you pay interest on that loan, right? That is what happens in loans. In the reverse mortgage, what will happen if it is reverse of the home loan? The bank will give you EMI. The bank will give you monthly cash flow against your property. So you get money on a monthly basis to ensure that your livelihood is taken off, and that is done by the bank. That is what is reverse mortgage. Bank pays monthly or yearly interest, depends upon how far are you from the bank, etc., etc. So this is roughly at around, max cap right now is 50,000 rupees per month. Owners continue to occupy the property and cannot be removed as long as either the spouse is alive. This is very, very important. So firm, one of the foundations why reverse mortgage is good is that it ensures that there is a shelter on the heads of that senior couple. So neither will the bank remove them, neither can anybody else remove them from the house. So for them, they're rest assured that as long as both of them are alive, there's going to be shelter on their heads. Banks may also pay for structural and civil work. Normally, the banks do this. Why they do it? Because for them, your property is their asset. If any damage happens to the asset, because of which its valuation may go down, they do not want to take that risk. Hence, they will pay for structural work. Like, for example, there's a slab which is falling, or there is a leakage which is there, or the pipelines have rusted now, or there is any other structural work which needs to be done. All that, any kind of civil work which is there, all kinds of that, the bank will support in terms of providing money. Okay. Continued. So owner cannot vacate, rent out, or keep a PG. Logic hai, because the bank is giving you money to stay there. Now, if you stay in some other place, why should the bank give you money? If you rent it out partly or put a paying guest there, again, why should the bank give you money? So the bank will not. After death of both the owners, one of the following things can be done. What is that? One is the beneficiaries of the owner can pay the bank its dues and take ownership of the property. So bank will give them a detailed account. This is what money we have given. This is the interest. This is the legal charge, etc., etc. This is what is owed to us. You give us that and take the property. That is the first option. Normally, the beneficiaries are not ready for this, because who will pay upfront to the bank? So then the bank does one more thing. The bank will auction the entire property by assigning professional auctioneers, and then collect that money, clear their own dues. The rest of the money is passed on to the beneficiaries. This is a very transparent process, so nothing needs to be worried about it. Now, this is again an interesting concept. Senior citizens residential projects. So these are not old age homes. There are some examples. I've taken examples near Mumbai because that is where I stay. So you have Dignity Lifestyle in Neral. You have New Life and Disha in Lonavala. You have Athashvi by Paranspe Group in Pune. You have Tata Housing in Talegaon. Plus, if you look at Pan India, you have Ashiana Housing, which is there in Chennai and NCR, Jaipur. Even in Karnataka, there will be lots and lots of these projects. Now, why do I insist on you understanding this? Is because this can become a win-win situation for you as well as your client. So what is this? This is typically a home away from a home. Now, in residential areas, we see a lot of senior citizens. In the morning, the entire family goes out. So they are at home, they're left home. Then the entire day they are alone. By the time everybody comes back and they are already tired, and then that is the way the day goes. That is the way the entire week goes. Saturday, Sunday, the families have their own personal commitments, etc., etc. So though the senior citizens are at home with loved ones around them, still they are alone. What is the difference here is that here they are not with their loved ones, but they are not alone. They are with people who are of a similar age, similar lifestyle, similar whatever. So basically in the similar state they are as compared to everybody else which is there. That is why we say this is a home away from a home. It is made to suit special needs. So you have walking tracks, yoga areas, you have got wheelchair accessibility throughout the entire area. You have got housekeeping and security, which is centrally controlled. You have people of the same ages which are around you. You have 24/7 primary medical healthcare, which is supported, and also catering services and tiffin services are available. So whatever is the requirement of old age people, all of that is taken care of. Why it is a win-win situation? Why did I say it was a win-win situation? Because let's say I turn 60 tomorrow and I want to move into a residential property. What will I do? I will sell my Mumbai house and buy a property. Obviously, the entire money will not be utilized for that. So, what will happen is it will release a lot of cash. Now, if you are my advisor and you have advised me this, who will manage that cash? Obviously, you, because you suggested me this concept, right? So, for you, the advantage is that you are managing this cash. Now, if I move into an independent senior citizen home, what will happen? I will become independent as a senior citizen, plus I will become in full control of my life. Because of which I would want to be in control of my investments as well. Right? But can I manage my investments? Do I have the time? Do I have the skill sets to manage my investments? Do I have the inclination to manage my investments? Obviously, no. So my dependency on you as a MFD will be much, much higher. So why it is a win-win situation? Because one, you have made the senior citizen independent and you are making him or her live a better life going forward. Two, from your side, you are able to manage his or her investments. That is why it's a win-win situation for both. Finally, retirement product planning using mutual funds, the best option which is available. You can allocate 100% to equity or to debt or to hybrid, or combinations can be done. Flexibility of withdrawals is there. Okay, you can decide how much you want to withdraw. If for a particular month you don't want to withdraw, that also can be taken care of. You can increase the withdrawals for adjusting to inflation. That is possible in this very much because of the higher returns which you get through equity. Better returns as compared to other options which we've already discussed. And advisor is required to manage these investments. That is where if you suggest mutual funds, it is good. Moving between schemes, doing SWPs, equity debt allocation, all that is what you will manage. The senior citizen does not want to get into the hassles of managing money at that point in time. So mutual funds is all the more better because you get higher returns and you have higher flexibilities available here. A good retirement planning basically helps us to live life stress-free, because of which we can follow our passions. So whatever is it, whether it is singing, musical instruments, gardening, or drawing, etc., etc. So you can follow your passion. So what we said initially, you want to live your life once again. The second innings part of it, you want to enjoy, you want to live it to the fullest, you want to use it for your own self, you want to have your me time. All that is possible if you are able to do a good retirement plan.